I live in a historic home in Palo Alto.
Are you ready to plant? Here, hold your hand up.
And I live here with my husband and 2 daughters who are 3 and 5.
Everything can get a little water.
We've got a 3,000 square foot lot and a 1,500 square foot house, so there's really not that much space. But we always knew we wanted an edible garden, and we wanted to maximize every square inch that we possibly could with plants that we could eat or, enjoy for food.
If you take the pollen off the bottom part, right here.
I think that's the beauty of it. Even the smallest space can yield an amazing garden. And so when you take a walk through the property, you're going to experience everything from low-level blueberry bushes to really, modern plant beds and salad bowls. And you'll see all kinds of different fruit trees. Some are kind of bushed out and bunched out, and others are more constrained and espaliered. And then you'll see a lot of different vines and plantings that kind of accompany the rest of the garden design. So you don't have to constrain yourself. You can plant things and have them do well and grow lots of beautiful things, even in a little postage-sized lot.
This was a historical home. Yeah, it was built, I think, in 1891. Was the first post office in Palo Alto. And, we bought it in decent shape. It had been a rental unit, and then we turned it into a place for our family.
We're gonna plant some.
So when you're thinking about a design, it's really just very important to keep it simple. We really only have a few materials. We have the decomposed granite, the pavers, the Corten steel, and the river rock. And we reuse that material palette everywhere through the house. And so that really just sort of unifies the design and ties everything together. One of the strategies was to have raised beds in our garden. So we have 2 raised beds out in front and 1 really long one out in the back. And that takes care of most of our veggies, and we cycle through that between the different seasons. With the raised beds, we wanted to maximize every square inch. And so we looked at a bunch of different materials, but ultimately decided on the Corten, both because we really like the way that it looks. It has a really nice earthy feel, but also it's just really thin. And it allows us to, capture those extra few inches along the edges and have that extra growing space. Each bed is about 30 inches wide by 60 inches long, and they're raised about 24 inches high. So there's a good amount of dirt. So this enables us to get a lot of really rich, organic, compostable matter into the beds. And we've got irrigation, lined directly to it so that we can kind of ensure a good planting environment. Because our lot is so small, we also had to really take advantage of the side yard. And the side yard is right off of our kitchen, and it's basically our salad bowl and our herb garden. And so that's kind of our area where if, we want to go out and grab a quick meal, we can just pluck some lettuce leaves and pluck some herbs, and we've got a ready-made salad right there. It's just an extension of our kitchen, really. Now, the Corten gate is a pretty big statement. We felt that it was important to have kind of a protective gate. It actually kind of creates a nice break and backdrop from the front yard to the backyard and the side yards. So in the backyard, we've got a main sort of fruit area. So we've got 2 trees and then a berry patch.
We have 38 different types of fruits. Blueberries and blackberries and citrus and plums and peaches and passion fruit and kind of all across the board. Mostly trees, but a very, very wide range.
Then along the side, we've got a grape vine. So we've got a couple of different grapes. And in front of that is actually our old bathtub, which we recycled from our renovation. And in that, we've got some strawberries and a kaffir lime. We use vertical plantings a lot throughout the yard because our space is so small. Doing something flat and that goes up a wall or up along a fence was pretty important. So, the first example is right here, just along the front porch. We've got the passion fruit. But back in the side yard, next to the salad bowls, we actually have 2 kiwi vines that kind of wrap around, and it fills in the area between the old part of the house and the new part of the house. And then in the very backyard, we have our berry patch, which just grows along an espalier, and it sort of like flat and snakes out along the sides. And the grapevine also provides a nice backdrop along the side of the yard too. People are actually really curious about the ground cover too, because it's not grass. What we've got some of the chamomile and the yarrow and a little bit of thyme. So there are a lot of actually some ornamental herbs that are planted here that give it a nice soft green look, but without being, you know, this overly thirsty grass. How are you, kitty? I mean, we really love to cook. We like to make things from scratch. We find, you know, comfort in it, creativity in it, and so it was just really important that our garden kind of reinforced the way that we live. And so having food nearby and being able to shop in your front yard or in your backyard for dinner every night is just kind of naturally how, you know, we want to live.
I'll take one, and you take one. Okay, you do that one.
And for our daughters, they really get to experience a lot of different types of vegetables and lots of different types of fruits. And they really learn from an early age what it's like to grow their own food.
They were so delicious, right?
They can walk out in the mornings and pick their blueberries for breakfast, or they can come home in the afternoon and get some cucumbers right off the vines and tomatoes and have that for a snack.
You need to pick it up.
And, you know, for them to be a part of the cooking process and to be a part of that every night, and, you know, it just makes them feel like they're involved and they got to make their dinner or they got to make their breakfast, and so that's a lot of fun for them too. I mean, the most satisfying thing about it is that you have a palette now, like a garden palette that you can repaint every year. And it's actually kind of fun to figure out, oh, what is it that I'm going to plant this year? And, you know, start looking through the seed catalogs and, you know, remembering what works, but also trying out new things. And that's really kind of the joy of it. Once you've got the garden structure in place, why not use it and why not reuse it and make every year a little bit better than the last? It was a nice project because we got to combine a lot of the old and the new, but combine the new in a way that was useful to us and keep all of the great character and the charm that is, you know, is the 1891 post office.